of the heroes and the heroes and villains. Oh, yes, we're back to it, aren't we? I'm gonna get to these two a lot, but we all know Arnold. OG VHS the Commando. But Mommy do hey, we're all beautiful in our own way. Signed. Oh my god. Well, the frame was probably bought by this lady, Judy Garland. As you'll start to see, I have a shit ton of Judy Garland, all sorts of Hollywood memorabilia that apparently belonged to this lady, Judy Grossmall. I don't know the exact specifics. I'd have to double check with my father, but again, his fate is not in my hands, so I may never know the specifics. This lady, obsessed with the cinema, you see. Fucking absolutely obsessed with the cinema. Some of these are non-caffeinated, don't you fret. So she had collected, she would, from, like, really, from the Hollywood golden age, from going when she was a girl in the 30s to the 40s and 50s, and then into the 60s, this woman, Judy, would always write to not just the celebrities themselves, but like photographers, like everyone who was in there, you know, just keep in mind before the internet, before you could just, it was easy. So this lady would be a bone collector of sorts, a scavenger of sorts, and would just compile. You know, I have a couple boxes. You know, some are hidden away. My father used to always say, you know, again, to spoil it, he had spent a good amount, not too much money, but a few hundred, when this lady died, and I guess one of her relatives or something that my dad knew and worked with was just trying to get rid of these boxes. So he got these boxes. Awesome shit in them. Like, I haven't even really fully gone through it, and I do think, and again, it's dry bones in the wind, really, you know, the quality of these, they were staying before my dad got them, and now it's just like, just the cigarette tar and the fucking, but, oh, it's better than any internet. So she has a lot of Judy Garland things I'll get into later, but something that I found is absolutely fascinating is she wrote to a photographer, Theo Wilson. No, Judy. No, the Beatles didn't know I was a reporter until they read the paper, and I was told that it just broke them up. I can't tell you how I managed to get in as a chambermaid, but it was fun. Encloses a picture and some things from the Beatles suite at the Warwick. So I guess this dude, who was a fucking reporter, a slinky reporter, when the Beatles showed up in 1993, I believe, they were staying at the Pacific Hotel, and he snuck in there. He pretended to be a chambermaid, okay, and he got into the Beatles' hotel room, okay, and he took a few knickknacks. I don't think my father received all of them, but this thing of matches. These weren't used, but they're from the hotel room. The Beatles at Shea Stadium, August 15th, 1965, printed from a slide for additional prints or enlargements from the concert. And this lady didn't even really give a fuck about the Beatles. These ones were put aside specifically. And my father used to always tell me, well, you know, these things are going to be important. And I looked through some of them. But again, Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. I didn't really start to go through them until now. And they are really bone-chilling. Who's the hero in Batman? The Batman mythos. Like, I'm talking all the permutations, really. From the early 30s. From the early, like, fucking pulp, you know, detective comic where he first, you know, sort of showed up. Okay. Keep in mind, I've never liked Superman. Marvel I've appreciated more later on in life. The X-Men, Spider-Man, of course, I related to as a child for reasons that are pretty obvious. But Batman. Ooh, Batman. These cards from Batman Returns. They still smell like they first hit the pack. Really? Still got that sheen, don't they? They still got that fucking sheen. 1992 Topps Company. Alright, I don't have them unopened. I couldn't help myself. I love that fucking movie. Oh my god. 4 or 5 years old. I love that movie. God, I remember my first Christmas gift I remember receiving was a copy of that, of Batman Returns. And I screamed. I was so happy. Batman Returns. You remember Batman Returns is the dark fucking. It's not. I think Odyssey is the darkest one. It's even darker than the Nolan ones. Rewatch Batman Returns. That shit is bleak. I loved it. No. So, who was the hero in that? This came out more so in the Christopher Nolan's one. Christopher Nolan knew the mythology very well. Very well. Alfred. Obviously. Alfred is the hero. Alfred is the Sancho Panza. Alfred is the hero. You know, Alfred is the Ishmael. Alfred is the one who bear witnesses and tries to quench. Ultimately, like, the antagonist and the protagonist is Bruce Wayne and Batman. That's why it's dual. You know, I'm not going to deconstruct the comic books all at once, but that's why it's dual. You know, it's not fucking Commissioner Gordon, because fuck the police. It's Alfred. Alfred. The help. Alfred. The loyal Alfred. Bruce's real father. The one who was there for him. His father, his friend, his brother. Not his servant. No, his keeper. His brother's keeper. Alfred is the hero. Ratman versus the Joker and the Thief in the Night. Part 1. The Fall Guy. This was Thanksgiving of 2008. Yes. My sophomore year. I had just written that first article about the Hall. I think I was feeling so disillusioned. My real mighty Quins had once again dropped out of school, you know, because they were too fucking smart for that fucking slaughterhouse, that fucking boneyard. So again, like I'd established, I would drink a shit ton, but then pull back. So I pulled back for a bit. I was dating my first real girlfriend. At the time, she was the love of my life. At the time, I was going to marry her. You know, the fucking skies were bluer. The fucking everything tasted better. Again, just I lost my virginity. So all these after 19 years of fucking like, you know. But again, spoiler alert. Everybody dies. That little death used to be a Shakespearean term for the orgasm. Heroin use is referred to as death. Death is not the end. I think Bob Dylan did that. Nick Cave sung it. You know, Death of a Ladies' Man, Leonard Cohen. Anywho, so, you know, I was like, I don't need drinking. I don't need drugs. I'm gonna get sober right now. Forever. One day at a time, brother. So I was sober when I was going down to New Canaan for Thanksgiving with her very, very rich sister and her richer husband, and to meet everybody. I'm talking to a lot of people for Thanksgiving, for a gathering where Richard Gere was going to be there. Oh, my mother always loved Richard Gere. Oh, my father hated Richard Gere because my mother loved him and would probably fantasize about him sexually and use him to make my mother feel bad. My father feel bad. I guess it would probably make my mother feel bad too in hindsight. But yeah, a little weird. But so I remember I knew, like, specifically, they were like, yeah, well, my sisters, you know, just to warn you, because again, I'm fucking, oh, my name's Pitbull, right? And does my suit fit? Like, my feet smelled, so I was scrubbing my feet with a fucking stone beforehand, I swear to God. And I needed to do this. I wanted to be good. But the funny thing is, because I was being stone cold sober, and my anxiety was mommy, daddy, why? I was a fucking mess. I was tense, you know. If I'd been drinking, I would have been the life of the party. I would have been the life of that Thanksgiving party. I would have. I would have stolen the spotlight from Richard Gere, from Harry Connick Jr., from all these bigwigs. They would have hated me then. But they're like, what is this fucking coming out with this natural rock? Who is we? Think she's fucking better than me? Get this motherfucker out the room. But no, I wasn't drinking. I had to be sober. I had to be a hero, you know. So they first stick me with Richard Gere's parents, Homer and Doris Gere. Yes, they're like 101. They're dead now. They have to be dead. I hope they're dead. No disrespect, but if they're still alive now, no, they can't. They'd be the oldest people in the world. So they're dead now. But then, in 2008, they were alive. Richard Gere's parents, who I talked to for a while. And I'm realizing, oh, these fucking... And they're drinking, talking, they're tossing back Manhattans. Not even on the rocks, they're just taking shots of liquor. And keep in mind, I'm sober, more or less trying to be in recovery, you know. Generation of fucking the disease on my shoulders, I don't even know it, but I'm there, surrounded by this, you know. Harry Connick Jr., and I quote, but they're giving the jobs to all the damn Mexicans. You know, there's fucking all sorts of, like, see, like, real Hollywood producers there. If I was working the room, I'd be fucking... Hollywood, here I come. But I wasn't working the room. I was working myself. And I'm there listening to fucking Homer Gere. tell something longer than the Odyssey or the Iliad. He's talking about, well, you know, we had to make sure all the kids would get into the instruments and be able to play the instruments so they stay out of trouble. So we got Richard to play the... I don't know, I'm just like, that's fascinating. So I slink off. Upsetting my girlfriend greatly because she wanted me there to both be seen with her. Because, you know, she knew me. She knew me from when I was charismatic, from when I was the life of the party, from when I was the pimp, you know. And maybe, like, I don't know. I'd fallen from grace then. I was falling from grace. Like I'm gonna get to later when I fell off a fucking cliff and took a swing out of sea up. I fell from grace. And I was trying to climb back up from that gutter. But in this environment, and no disrespect to the people there, but again, it was New Canaan, the ice storm, the Bacchanal, the bird mask, you know, those kind of parties. And you could tell those were the kind of people and the energy that was there when I was in that room. And I knew it even then. Seeing Richard Gere's wife, thinking, who she slept with in this room, how many people? Could it be me at one point? Am I just being arrogant? Am I just being toxic? A toxic scavenger? Or am I just understanding the room that I'm in? And again, I always put on the costumes of any given room I am in, which is why I've been so traumatized so often, and why I ended up reenacting those shadows. So I slink off into the shadows in this party. Again, the people keep offering me booze. But instead I'm like, nah man, I'm gonna take some water. Hold the ice this time. Wait, extra lemon. I'm creating a repertoire of jokes between the servants, who I would later become, in similar positions. Those are my friends. Those are my, you know, I can be your hero, baby. I can get you a drink of ice and lime. Like, but the real fuckers that I was fucking chilling with, I went up to the room with the kids, who being just all the little kids. My nephews and nieces were real cool. They were real cool. I always relate to the little kids, you know, which is, again, well, shouldn't you be a predator? Shouldn't you not be wrong? I'm there just talking with the servants. The living maids. Some of which are like, I think Eastern, one was Eastern, European, like maybe she was Hungarian, because I love the Hungarians. But, and she's English as well, but not well enough. But I'm still there, just like, these are my people. Hey, I'm having a great time. I'm sorry. You don't have an exit strategy for your cleaning? Like, you know, Mommy Dearest comes back up to take me back toward the fall. But more to come. To be continued.